I did. So what got you, when did you start magic?
I started when I was, well, I got like a magic kit when I was a kid, and it didn't really take because it was a little bit advanced for me. I just like lost all the pieces to it. But then later I saw a magician when I was like 14, and that really kind of jump started it. And probably around 15, that's when I started to go to like the local IBM meetings, and then from there in college is when I really started to get into it because and during college I worked at a magic shop, and they had a lot of magic books in the shop, and there wasn't usually a lot of customers. So I would
So
just
you
sit
read
there and
books,
read
yeah.
magic books and play with the tricks. And after I finished college, I just decided I wanted to do that, and so I did. And now I've got a degree to fall back on just in case.
Yeah. Don't you have a degree in makeup?
Yeah, industrial design. That's what I went for, like special effects makeup.
Yeah. How was that?
It was cool. It was a lot of fun. I've never actually, used the degree afterwards for anything paid. I've used it to make my own stuff for magic purposes, so it kind of is
Right.
useful in what I do because I can make some of my own props and molds and things like that and sculpting.
Right.
But I have a couple of friends who I graduated with that kept on and have been working on the film industry and things like that, so it's been kind of cool to see them go on and do
Well,
it.
it probably helps because you have an understanding of it.
Yeah,
And
the
it helps you.
understanding of it helps with the whole magic, because it's the same idea of kind of creating like a movie effect or a magic
Sure.
effect or an illusion, same idea.
Right. So though young people, remember, get a degree.
Yeah, get
That's
a degree
important.
first.
It helps you, and especially if you're really interested in magic, get a degree in acting or something like that, and it helps you a whole bunch. So here's an interesting question: What do you think all about this magic being exposed on the internet, on YouTube and stuff?
Yeah.
What's your opinion of that?
Well, it's certainly, it's like one of those things that you can't really stop it, so what are you going to do about it? It's just another thing, it's another product of like fast information that's being passed around because of the internet. And in certain ways it's really cool, obviously, because we can do stuff like this and
Right.
Use it for
Right.
great reasons. So we just have to do as much as we can to try to focus on the good things. And I think it's just like any other art form. Eventually there'll just be so much of that crap on the YouTube that you'll be able to distinguish the good from the bad. Right now you really can't. That's the
Right.
problem. So
Right.
I think eventually it'll even itself out, hopefully.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
But right now it's kind of like a gray area because it's still somewhat new.
Well, it's sort of interesting for us that sometimes it helps my business and sometimes it
Yeah,
hurts my business.
same thing with me. It goes both ways.
So you write a column for Mum, right?
Yep.
And what is that? What is Mum?
Mum is it's basically the monthly magazine that the SAM puts out, the Society of American Magicians. Please turn off all your cell phones.
Oh, that's Di Vernon trying to get to me again.
Here, I'll back it up.
So, no, leave it on, leave it on.
Did you guys
Oh,
grab
no,
that phone call?
Don't stop.
Just for that guy. Just for the Vernon guy.
Yeah.
We should do that every time.
Okay, I should do that every time. Okay, so you write this column for Mom.
Yep, it's a monthly
And-
column, and
and,
it comes out. It comes out in toward the end of the magazine. There's a couple of different people that write columns. Aldo Colombini writes a column. Norman Beck
Oh, yeah.
writes a column, and right in there, there's a couple different people that do it, and each one's a little bit different. Like Aldo's is usually card magic,
Right.
and Norm's is kind of it goes back and forth. Norm talks about like sometimes cheating and real
Right.
world experiences, and mine's kind of all over the place. I just sometimes will talk about being on the road and things I've seen on the road, or sometimes it's a trick that I'll submit, or someone else will submit to me that I'll put in there.
Right.
It's usually kind of like a combination of views and current goings on of magic,
Sure.
that type of stuff.
Well, good for you. I think it's a hard thing to do. I think
It's hard to do it monthly, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it is.
I've recently asked if I could do bi-monthly, and that's a little bit easier.
Yeah, bi-monthly.
It's like the lazy
You'll still be
man's,
behind,
yeah.
though.
I will, because I'll do like 3 or 4 and get ahead, and then I'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
it's time for
I
another
know
column.
what happens. I mean, it just sneaks up on you.
Yeah, but that's one thing that's kind of good, is it keeps it fresh. So when you're writing them all the time, then you're not making up on the fly, so to speak.
Yeah, I admire you doing that. I admire any of those guys that wrait those columns because it's tough to do every month. It really is. And just think about it yourself. Just if you try to write something every month, it's in place to make it good material.
So if you ever have
You know.
anything really good, let me know.
Yeah, let me know.
Makes my job easy. I can say,
You were a
"There's guest
consultant
coming."
for Penn and Teller on NBC's special Off the Deep End, right?
Yep, that was a special they did a couple of years back where it was all kind of like beach and water theme. They did it down in the Bahamas.
Right.
I don't know, do you remember that special?
I do.
Yeah, it was pretty cool because Teller did a lot of stuff with water and things like that, and they did some underwater illusions actually.
Yeah, they did. How'd you get involved in that?
That was Michael Weber was
Oh, okay.
working with them, and he asked me. He said, "Hey, they want something that has to do with water and the beach." And so I sent them a couple things, and they chose that the moving tan line. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Oh, yeah.
But basically, it's you take
That's
off
yours?
you take off your watch or your ring, and you've got like a tan line left from it, and you can kind of move it to a different spot. Usually, I would do it with my watch. I would take my watch off and then kind of move it up my arm. But that's what they did on that. Penn took it off and moved it. He had like a girl like touch it and feel it, and then move it to a
Right.
different spot. And it was pretty neat. It was pretty cool to work with those guys because they're obviously, kind of at the top of the magic scale. I've always liked their style of magic because they're very unique and very kind of crazy. I don't know what the right word is, but they just
Yeah.
have a unique spin on magic. It's definitely not the old style of magic. They try to change things and shake things up. So I've always
Right.
appreciated that.
Yeah, they
And,
do a great job.
And they're both completely different guys too in their own right. When you're talking to one guy, it's a little bit different. And Teller does talk, so that was kind of interesting to actually hear him talk.
Yeah, I heard an interview with him one time on NPR.
Yeah, it's not. It's like
And I'm
the
like,
classic.
wow,
thing,
I get to hear him talk.
It's not what you think his voice is going to sound like. It's the classic like radio announcer.
Yeah.
It's not what you thought they were going to look like, type thing. Which is always funny.
He's a pretty smart guy, isn't he?
Very smart. Yeah, very very talented and well read. He knows a lot about the history of magic and
Yeah.
just everything magic.
Well, good. I bet that was a fun project to do.
It was great, and plus ever since then I've been able to maintain contact with those guys, and that's been
Right.
a lot of fun.
One of the things that impressed me about their show was they went after the show was over. They came out and shook everybody's hand.
Oh yeah, they're so
And, I mean,
personable.
and sit there, and they didn't rush you through.
Mhm.
They, would generally shake your hand and say hi, how you do, and talk to everybody.
It's funny because I've never actually seen their live show because
yeah.
it just seems like when I'm in Vegas I don't have time to go see it. But my parents have gone out there a couple times, so I'll like get a hold of Teller, and they'll get tickets for my parents.
Right.
And like talk to my parents, and my mom will be like, "Oh, Teller said hi." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
Right.
I still want to see the show.
Yeah, I saw the show. Went to the show once, and I was asked to come up on stage to help them as a participant. And I went, oh no, this is not good. And so I already as I'm walking up there, I thought they asked me what I do for a living. I'm a shoe salesman because I don't want them to
It's just a
know.
lie.
I didn't want them to know I was a magician
Send you back.
because they would. Oh well, I didn't know what they would do to me.
Right.
Chastise
Chastise you, make fun of
I
you,
don't know.
yeah.
And so, but it did the thing that was really funny. And I came back later and I said to people, "Why did they pick me?" And they said, "Well, because you're sitting here laughing and enjoying yourself." And I thought to myself, "Well, that's who I picked to come up."
Right, you looked like you were having a good
Yeah,
time.
and I was. It was really genuine, and I was very impressed. And
But they didn't ask you.
And they were very. Yeah, thank God they didn't ask or anything like that. So.
Because like a lot of times with like different shows, they'll have the PAs or whatever. They'll kind of ask you as you go up. Are you a magician?
Yeah, oh, do they?
They'll whisper sometimes.
Yeah.
Copperfield people do that a lot. Are you a
Yeah.
magician?
See,
So tell us now.
So I would lie.
So would I. Of course.
I sell shoes.
Oh.
And so,
Never
of
seen
course,
it.
I'm up there and I'm like looking at everything. Couldn't catch a thing. It was
That's
great.
good.
It was
That's a good show.
So, what do you think for the future for you?
For me, that's a good question. I've been, trying to do a lot of different things. I've actually tried a couple of, I guess the word I'm looking for, I don't know, but I've tried a couple of acting jobs, and that's been kind of fun.
Oh, wow.
I did a thing with True TV. They're a cable channel, and they have a lot of kind of like, it's supposed to look like a reality show, but it's actually kind of a documentary type thing. And they were looking for, they did a casting call, they were looking for a guy that would be able to play a comedic role. So I sent in my video for it, and I cast for it, and I actually got the part. So that was pretty cool. They had to have someone that would buy a chili dog and get really mad and yell at the guy and throw the chili dog back at him. So I got to throw a chili dog and yell and scream.
That'd be
That was
fun.
pretty fun. We had to do 2 takes too, so they had to put more chili sauce on it. We had to do that again. That was really cool.
That's great.
You get paid to throw chili dogs. That's a cool job, right?
That is cool. Well, thank you very much. I'm
Oh, my
looking forward to the
pleasure.
lecture, and pleasure meeting you.
You as
And,
well. Sir.
And send in your comments, anything about the blog, and appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.